Gordon's alive? Oh, never mind, he's dead. Gordon's alive again? Oh, blast, he's dead again. Gordon's oh, I give up. Defenders of the Earth is pretty tough. So, the Defenders of the Earth then. Who they? What do they do? Well, they look like their Fathers for Justice guys who've actually won their court case and managed to get full custody of the kids, if you look at this picture. You know what, only Phantom has made the effort to dress up as a superhero though. Flash has sort of tried. Lothar's just sort of turning up in his jeans. And as for you, Mandrake, what are you doing? Are you going for a dinner date at the Ritz, or are you going to climb that building and say you should have custody of your children? Maybe you're the smart one who got the court case won. I don't know. Very well dressed. Anyway, so they were sort of a proto-Avengers from the MCU in many respects. That's a Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you don't understand my acronyms. And they were a clutch of superheroes or comic book heroes from the 20s and 30s who, get this, many of whom predate Superman, they're so old, who King Features in the 80s put all together, asked for a bit of assistance from Marvel, and here we are. We had this wonderful cartoon show in which these heroes assemble to fight off the sinister Ming the Merciless, who, you know what, fancied a bit of Earth's natural resources. Thank you very much. So Defenders of the Earth lasted for 65 episodes, with Flash Gordon, Lothar, Mandrake and the Phantom and their offsprings indulging in many heroic adventures during its run in 1986. Apparently, though, these adventures were not interesting enough to break into the stacked toy market at the time, as it was cancelled after just one season. Some notable things include the following. Its Cock Rock theme tune had lyrics written by Stan Excelsior Lee, or Excelsior, as the man he himself would say, R.I.P. Big Stan. And boy, is that tune second only to Thundercats in being an absolute balls out banger. It's so very, very masculine and manly. It's like taking 8 Viagra at once and getting killer abs down your glans shaft. Defenders of the Earth also has that wonderful gift of being set in a far-flung year which has since passed, which I always love because it's set in the year 2015. Woo! I bet we have flying cars then. One of the really truly dark aspects of the show, which I didn't know about and I must have forgotten about, was that when Flash Gordon and his son Rick escaped from Mongo, Ming the Merciless's home planet, they left their mum behind. Now their Rick's mum anyway. I don't think Flash Gordon would marry his mum. That'd be weird. Anyway, this lady, who in the movie Flash Gordon is called Dale Arden, well, she got tortured by Ming for many months because Ming wanted her to betray her husband, obviously. But she never gave out. She was very heroic. And she died, which is very sad. But then she ended up having her psyche placed in a computer which the Defenders of the Earth use, called Dynac X. That's really dark and Black Mirror-y, isn't it? For a kids' cartoon. Yeesh. The other Defender of the Earth who I haven't yet mentioned is Zuffy. Now, Zuffy is an alien monkey who Rick and Flash find on Mongo as they escape, grieving for their now datarized loved one. The reason he's in Defenders of the Earth is because the show at that point wouldn't have had the absolute prerequisite mid-80s action cartoon, small amusing comedy sidekick that everyone hates. And so there you go, there's Zuffy. That's his role in this show. He looks a bit like Ming the Merciless has been getting jiggy with the wildlife on his planet. And you know what, as the show has already gone with the existentialist horror of a computer wife, I wouldn't put bestiality beyond them either. Because we in the UK used to get stuff super late in the 80s, the Enigma Variations game adaptation of Defenders of the Earth didn't plonk onto our respective tape and disc drives until 1990. The game was released on a variety of formats, being the Spectrum, Commodore 64, Amstrad, Amiga, Atari ST, and of all things, the Sam Coupe, a Spectrum 48K compatible computer that got a lot of Sinclair periodicals into a bit of a hype froth at the time. However, the Sam Coupe ended up having the cultural impact of a tadpole falling onto a lettuce leaf from a centimetre high drop. Poor old Sam. The plot of Defenders of the Earth is that Ming has kidnapped the offspring of the main adult heroes, and no doubt he plans to trap their essence onto a collection of floppy disks where they cannot move, or touch, or see, or hear, or think, or scream. And it's up to you, as Flash Gordon, to blast your way through the Merciless One's lavish and fortified castle to rescue them. A maze-like side-scroller with a steep difficulty curve, Flash can call on Lothar and Phantom to open doors with their mean man muscle arms, Mandrake to make enemies crumble in fear and confusion, and Zuffy will jump in and plonk himself at a computer desk and tiddle around with the keys until a door opens. Thank you, little purple mate. The game is solid and competent as far as side-scrollers go, with some nicely detailed, colourful backgrounds in the fortress, though there's little variety beyond the confines of Ming's moribund mansion of misery. The enemy and main character sprites are represented in crisp, effective monochrome, and it's all very generic to look at, really. It's also quite generic to play, though being able to call on the other defenders is a nice touch. Opening doors is a little uncreative a way to use characters who had some interesting abilities in the TV show. If you dawdle too long on a particular screen, the alarm will sound, and Flash will see his health drain. Now, I don't know why this happens, but presumably Ming has pressed his green rump against a vent in the next room and is now releasing the full gamut of the Mongo steak he had the previous night into the air as a toxic alien turd shout. When this happens, it can be a bit fiddly, as you're constantly blasting away at the endless stream of same old goons and robot gits, while hammering a button to get Lothar's bald head to appear and knock down the MFI Oak Effect door. It's a little bit tetchy to play, let's say. Ironically, for a game by Enigma Variations, there's very little in the way of variation, and while it's initially fun to play, there's little to bring you back, despite its lofty, tricksy challenge. Magazines of the time gave the adventures of Flash & Co. better than average reviews. Crash gave the game a 76%, saying that the title was a blasting romp for fans of the TV series with only short-term playability. Sinclair users scored the game 73%, stating that the action is fast and furious, but it is tricky to get to grips with. Your Sinclair gave the lowest score with a meagre 64%, offering that it was a could have been good shoot 'em up, but there's not enough to do. So should you play it? Possibly. It is very bland though, and seeing as it came out in the same month as grade A side-scrolling action games like Hammer Fist and Midnight Resistance, it really doesn't stand out at all, if I'm being honest. And it ends up being a bit too much flash, see, and no substance. If it still sounds like your thing, well, put an emulator on your computer wife, fire her up, feel frustrated with her, get bored, and oh my god, Defenders of the Earth is just a bit like marriage all round, isn't it? Okay, thanks, bye.